welcome back to my channel. I'm going through the top 100 Rockabilly hits of all time. We just heard another one from Carl Perkins, so enjoy that track. I was thinking about the theme of Blue Suede Shoes. It's kind of like another track that was on the list about DuckTales. And I think in the 50s, style was really a big thing, and that's kind of why I figured I'd step it up for the final two anyway, with the hair and the retro shirt. So anyway, right now we're going to an artist that has been appeared a lot on this list so far, and he's actually one of my favorite to have made the list. Right now, here's the Johnny Burnette Trio with The Train Kept on Rolling from 1956.
I called a train, I met a dame. She was a hipster and a real gone dame. She was pretty from New York City, and we trucked on down that old fair lane with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go. Get along, treat the little woman, get along. Better be young when you're way to get along. Treat the little woman, get along. Better be young when you're way with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go. Well, the train kept a rolling all night long. The train kept a rolling all night long. The train kept a moving all night long. The train kept a rolling all night long with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go. We made a stop at Albuquerque. She must have thought that I was a real gone jerk. We got off the train at El Paso. Her loving was so good, Jack, I couldn't let her go. Get along, well, I just couldn't let her go. Get along, sweet little woman, get along. Better be young when you're when you get along. Sweet little woman, get along. Better be young when you're away with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go. Well, that train kept a rolling all night long. The train kept a rolling all night long. The train kept a rolling all night long. The train kept a rolling all night long with a heave and a hoe. Well, I just couldn't let her go.
Wow. So much energy and so much passion in this track in particular, and the other ones as well. I always felt there's a lot of energy. He does scream, he does change pitch, he does kind of add that angst that I talked about before, where it's just a word he just kind of like stresses it. You kind of feel like there's some kind of raw emotion in there. And what I also noticed is the guitar to me like almost kind of sounded like hard rock. Like it didn't really sound like the 50s. It sounded like he started something there maybe. I don't know, but yeah, it was really cool. It's not my favorite of his so far. The other train song that he had, the one that had where they were kind of doing the train whistle, I thought that was better, and it was one of my favorite tracks on the list so far. And but yeah, him and Jody Reynolds I think are my favorite artists so far. And it's kind of interesting that I've never even heard of these guys. Never heard of these guys before I started the list, but definitely my two favorite. Him for his passion, and Jody Reynolds for the darkness that you didn't really find in some of the other tracks, except for the song about suicide. So yeah, I've completed the list. I've enjoyed what I've done so far, and I already knew that I liked Rockabilly, but I was kind of surprised that there was more. There's a lot of mid-tempo songs, and I was kind of surprised that there was going to be saxophone and piano, because when I thought of Rockabilly, I've always thought of kind of the guitar and stand-up bass and drums, and just kind of a basic sound and a kind of a bit of a California sound. That's what I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised that there was a little bit more to it than I expected. So the other thing I'm going to address is kind of the elephant in the room. This was a list of all white people, and obviously this music wouldn't exist if it wasn't for many talented black artists. The next list is going to have a lot more diversity, I promise. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be 50s and 60s music anyway. So yeah, I've completed this one. I'm going to move on to the next one in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, let me know what this track means to you. When's the first time you heard it? And let me know what it means to you personally. And tell me what Rockabilly means to you and kind of what exposure you had growing up, if it was something you heard a lot or something you didn't experience until later in life. With Rockabilly, like, to me, I kind of knew the basic sound, but most of these artists I never heard of. And actually, my parents, is the same thing. Like, even though they were kids when this music came out, where they lived, it just wasn't played. It was only country. So yeah, this was new to all of us. So thanks again for watching, and take care.
I met a dame, she was a hefty and a real gone dame. She was pretty from New York City, and we trucked on